Good morning. Bright and early at TIFF. When you're making a film like this, what's the relationship like between the three of you? Because obviously it seems from the outside, or well, I shouldn't say obviously, but from the outside it seems like you guys must have gone through a lot to get to the point of filming and creating. So what was that relationship like from any of you?
Well, I cast these two like a year before we went to camera. So over that time, we became close, and I did a lot of like bonding exercises between these two, and they sort of got to know each other. And then we became tight. Like when we were filming, we were always like together because we were shooting out of Toronto and staying in dorm rooms and stuff, and we became tighter. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I feel like out of everything that I've had the opportunity to do, it was the most, in terms of like your creative process, the best kind of experience I've ever had, because you provided so many opportunities for us to, like you said, bond, connect, find our characters, whether that was even in your audition process, even in your rehearsal process. Just so much of it was like you laid it out so we can find our characters and find the story and then get closer with everybody and each other.
Basically.
That's what I would say.
But it's interesting though, because I got to know you really well as your character, but other than that, like I got to know you as you like during the filmmaking process, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Like in between that when we were like in the dorms together.
Yeah, and we shared a room all the time.
That's amazing. But that's so cool because I talk to other filmmakers and actors, and they've got this dynamic on screen, but they didn't actually spend that much time building it, and it kind of sometimes shows. Whereas with you guys, I mean, it's phenomenal, the relationship that you can see on screen. Then when you're filming, what happens then? Was there anything that changed while you were filming it?
I think I had a comfort going in because you allowed us to create these memories like ahead of time. It just gave it so much more texture, and it made it so effortless to just get into the scene because I already felt like we had that relationship.
Yeah. It feels like we did the harder work beforehand, and it really felt like we were just playing. And you made the set but the energy was amazing, the people were amazing, we could just let go, and you're in a safe space to do it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, then when things are breaking down, do you have a particular direction in terms of like, this is how you're setting up a scene, or is it really emotive and you're just going through the actual like scripting basically?
We did a lot of rehearsal, and I don't think we really went into a lot of scenes unprepared. There was a few scenes that we didn't rehearse, but we spent so much time beforehand doing all these exercises, doing all these rehearsals and bonding sort of improvs, that they had a shorthand between each other. We had a shorthand between the three of us. So they were able to like improvise and incorporate the script. There was this sort of like method that we all developed together that I think really created this like naturalistic performance for both of them.
And I think it was cool, like Michaela had the idea of creating these Instagram accounts for our characters.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Where it just allowed for us to understand what it would feel like as, a 16-year-old in a rundown, boring town, and they would turn to the internet. What kind of influences, what kind of people would they follow, how would that influence the way they dress? And it was really fun. Tumblr and Instagram.
Tumblr.
We would sort of find the way that they would speak online and how they would interact with each other, and like, wow, that's not scripted. It just helped us to find characters more.
And it was so funny because, like, in between takes, I would, like, between scenes, I would go on Instagram and I would see you updating Instagram as your character. So I was like, Chantal's doing this? Okay, cool. It's like a photo that I hadn't seen yet before. So it was cool, yeah.
That's very cool because I've never heard that really before. I've heard of getting a character in a certain way, but never that level. That's cool. Do you, as a filmmaker working with a team like this, I mean, do you get to the end and it must be, is it swelling pride to be able to get to the end to have this, I guess, experience? Or how does that wrap up? What's the feeling at the end? Triumphant at least?
Yeah, I think when we wrapped, there was like a sadness that it had to end because it was like summer. It was kind of like summer camp. The way we filmed this, we went away, we all stayed together, and I think we knew on set we were making something special. There was like a vibe, there was a feeling and an energy in the air. And then I went off and spent 6 months editing, 7 months
which must have been quite a job.
It was quite a job, and Simone and I, the editor, the way we filmed it, we didn't do like traditional coverage, so it really was a puzzle to edit. But now it feels great that it's coming out into the world.
That's cool.
I definitely felt sad to leave the characters and even leave the motel room and even outside of set, the spaces that we stayed in that felt so much like the story. I definitely miss Chantal, even though we are talking about them now, and you know, I haven't fully seen the film finished, but I miss her and I miss Lou. It's just, you wrote these incredible stories or these incredible characters in this incredible story, and I definitely miss it, and it's just yeah.
Well, sorry.
Yeah, it's funny to see like how the relationship has like progressed as well. Like I haven't seen you for such a long time, and now like finally back at it, and we're at a different level with the film and doing the same TIFF. I think it's just
Well, they were really immersed in it, you know, like these two especially were so immersed in their characters, and like it's almost like we created this alternate reality where these people existed. Like I wanted to feel like I believed they existed out there, because if they couldn't believe that, then how would an audience believe that, right? So I think it was a little tough to like end that.
we had. Sorry.
Yeah, I think you're going to say it. We had a pickup day 2 weeks later, so the characters actually didn't leave us until after we wrapped the pickup day.
And it was the last scene of the.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And that is such a
It's
triumphant
making my
moment.
hair stand up.
Yeah, me too.
No, me too. To be honest with you, that final scene releases so much pressure, and it's, you know, I don't want to ruin for it until people have seen it, but essentially, like, it is amazing to reach that moment that feels almost like the cowboy riding off into the sunset, or you know, whatever you want to say. Did you
Cowgirl.
have that cowgirl? Sorry, yes, exactly. Did you have that feeling filming it, or what was the feeling like when you're filming it?
The last scene.
Yeah.
Well, there was this one take where we actually drove
Are we allowed to speak
Well,
about
Yeah, I don't
how
want
it
to ruin.
ends?
I don't want to ruin it
No,
too
we
much.
can't. I guess we can't really say. I guess we can't really say much.
That's true.
It was really
I
special.
almost said something.
Yeah.
It was like 3 a.m. or we had a
Yes,
call
when we-
time really early, and I think we were really, at least I was exhausted, and it was of the pacing of the entire film, it was one of the slowest. So it was just like ethereal and beautiful, but also sad, but also freeing, and it just, that one specific scene and setup was just a crazy experience.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, in terms of working together, I mean, I don't like to do the comparisons, but I am curious that, you know, we're finally getting the shift of more female filmmakers leading the charge. And I've had so many different stories from on sets. What's it like working with a female director in terms of listening? Because I've heard so much in the past about other directors maybe not listening. Is there a difference otherwise?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially because this has such a female-centric voice, and I felt like throughout this process, I felt safe with you and trusted you, and you handled your set with so much love and care, and it felt like Michaela and I could just get lost in that in a safe way. So definitely.
You don't hear safe. Unfortunately, you don't hear safe and set in the same word, the same sentence a lot. Like,
That is unfortunate.
yeah.
There was also like I was putting these two in like a lot of difficult scenes.
Yes.
You had to have a safe environment. I tried my best really to be there for them in every way, because it was just very difficult. Some of those scenes were really hard. So I always wanted to make sure that I was there for them and for all the cast, but for these two especially,
Right.
and to make sure that they felt supported. And I think that I tried to listen more than I tried to You know, I've always asked them what they thought about something, or like, what do you feel like you'd say in this moment? Like, I always tried to give them that agency.
That's cool.
And that was tremendously helpful. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I feel like I learned a lot from you as a director, how I want to, you know, work with the actors that I get the opportunity to work with, and I learned a lot from your process as an actor, how you got into Lou, and just the whole thing was life-changing for me. So,
Well, do you hope to work together again? I mean, I'm sure that's an easy answer, but you know,
are you
I'm
ready to
curious.
do stories? That you're looking for 2 leads?
I would love to work with these two again. I think that they're stars, you know?
Yeah.
Like, in every sense of the word. Like, they're insanely talented. People are already saying that. I can't wait tonight, you know, is our premiere, and people are just, I think they're going to be blown away by both the performances. So I hope I do get to work with them again.
That's awesome. Well, anything else to share? Anything you want to say about the film or about the process or anything else? I always like to leave it open to you folks to have that opportunity.
Oh, girl power.
Lady power.
Well, yeah, especially today with the rally and everything
Yeah.
else. Are you? I know you're busy, but are you folks going to go later, or do you have time? Probably not.
Well, I went this morning.
Yeah.
And one of the special moments of that was seeing Gina Davis talk. And Gina Davis, you know, she was in Thelma and Louise, and Thelma and Louise is such an inspiration for me and for Firecrackers, because that's all about two women who want to be free from patriarchy too. Like, I always thought that was such a dark film, even though it's got a great soundtrack and they, you know, there's a lot of fun in that film, but
It's intense.
It's intense and it is dark, and you know what? There are a lot of similarities between that and Firecrackers. So to see her on this day when we're premiering was so special.
It was written.
Yeah.
I would love all of you to have a conversation. I think that would be really fascinating if she gets to see it to then talk to you, because I think it's fascinating to see the connections to the past.
Yes.
And those
Totally.
the storytelling kind of circle almost.
Totally.
Well, thank you very much. Really a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.